Good afternoon to you all. I'm very happy and honored to be standing here for this conversation. As Devika mentioned, it's a particular special meeting, a little bit different from the others, maybe because Oliver and Ben actually go a long way back. We might like talk about the friendship between you, I think. And there's a collaboration which started after during the shooting of Mimosa, because Ben decided to film Oliver during the shooting and make a film called The Sky Trembles, The Earth is Afraid, and Two Eyes Are Brother.
Not brothers.
Not brothers. There's even a short film called Mohamed Mrabet, where Ben, you filmed Shakib Ben Omar, Mimosa's lead actor, meeting the writer, the oral storyteller that Paul Bautz published. And then that collaboration continued with Krabi 2562, a film that Ben, you co-directed with Anocha Suichakornpong, and where Oliver is playing director, shooting in Phuket, or advertisement director, so not an art house, not an art house director. So, but maybe like before getting into this story, I wondered if you could talk about how you met and if you met through each other, seeing each other's films, or in a more casual circumstances.
I will start because I think that I know you before you know me. I've seen All Liberty. I think it's your first film I've seen, and I was really touched by this movie. You know, I think probably was 2008. When is 8? Yeah. 8, 9. You know, I mean, when I've seen your films, I really felt, you know, this guy knows what is an image. You know, I was really, I was admiring him a lot. You know, and after I've seen, I think two years at sea. When is this film from? 2011.
So you saw Slow Action as well before as well.
No, Slow Action. I've seen it in Korea. That is when we met in 2011, I think.
Yeah.
Or possibly you.
No, it's true. Yeah.
And so I thought you were an old guy, you know. I mean, because I found these films really delicate and really, you know. So it was a pleasure to meet you in person in Korea, in Jeonju.
What about you, Ben? When did you see Oliver?
I met Oliver in Jeonju.
You met in Jeonju, and did you see the film there?
I think I saw Captains there. I imagine you must have been showing it. So I definitely saw it pretty much around the same time as meeting Oliver. So I'm going to guess it was there. And again, I felt like, spiritual brother of filmmaking. I was pretty clear, that, and actually, like, Captains and Our Liberty are both working with children, and in black and white, 16mm, and kind of allowing the children to be free, and that's kind of the core of both of those films, I think. So I think it was very clear that we were going to get along with those two films.
So how do you remember approaching Oliver to film him during the shooting of Mimosa?
Yeah, because I'd had this idea that I wanted to make a film about filmmaking, somebody making film, but it was very sort of vague. And at the same time, I had this Paul Bowles story, A Distant Episode, that I wanted to do something with, and that's based in Morocco, and it's about a linguist who is kind of has too much hubris and thinks he can go down any path, but eventually he goes down the wrong path, and and I guess while these things, it's very hard to pinpoint exactly like the beginnings of ideas and how they evolve, and but I knew that, I mean, we definitely talked about mimosas and Oliver, you know, planning this film, because actually the planning went on for quite a long time. It was a difficult film to pull together. So I knew that he was going to be making a film in Morocco, and I thought, well, this is perfect for me.
I remember this.
Yeah, and you know, so I asked him, and Oliver was very generous in saying yes, and you know, not only letting me be, you know, film his film in a very kind of parasitic way. I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm feeding off his film to make mine.
I remember in Korea, I mean, I was really happy to meet you, and I obviously invite you to come. I was living in Warsaw, and you told me you were doing this film, and I said to you, you know, man, I'm living just besides studios, film studios, and I was telling you, you know, about. So I think you were.
It was brewing.
Stimulated by the fact that.
That's true. Yeah.
Not only because of me, also because of these studios, of the fact that I was in Morocco. I admire Paul Bowles, you know, and I was living in Tangier for 5 years. I knew Mohammed Mravet, so a lot of signs, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're as filmmakers, I think we're always looking for, or you have an eye open always for these kind of gifts from, you know, the universe, and you know, and things sort of start to coalesce in ways that you can't you don't plan it necessarily. And so I went to visit Oliver when you were living outside Sirāt, and planning mimosas, and we traveled around looking at locations that I think like both of us could use. You were location scouting for mimosas.
2015, possibly.
14, I think.
14.
Yeah.
14, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, I already got this sense from Oliver that he wanted to make I mean, you talked about wanting to make something really ambitious, you know, but also about taking people to taking the whole crew, the actors and everybody on a really difficult journey, because the film is, you know, it needed that.
Yeah, it was difficult for me because I felt I'm a filmmaker like you know, and you don't need much to evoke things, you know. I mean, you and I was dying. I was totally going outside my comfort zone, making mimosas. I wanted to make a film into the industry, so I needed to write a script for the first time, and I had a lot of problems financing the film, and I was afraid where I was going, you know, because I was changing the way I was doing films, you know. I mean, I was also sometimes I was developing the film also in my toilet, like you did, and I was now like having the ambitions and the ego to make a film into the industry, you know. So it was a jump to the abyss, and I was sharing this with you, you know, that also I was sharing with you. I think that obviously with all our captains, I was like touring all the festivals, and it was great, you know, and it was great that the cinephilia and critics, they like it, but I was feeling it's not enough. I don't know if it's for ego reasons or it's because my path was another, you know. Now with time I understand the decisions that I take, but I remember to be walking on the palm grove where I was living and to share this with you, you know. It was really, was a beautiful dialogue, you know. And I was more afraid to have you shooting in my shooting, you know, because at some point I knew that I had to open you the door. I was telling to myself, okay, so if I'm not able to capture the beauty of this valley, of this amazing location, Ben will do it. And I knew that my film could be a failure. And yeah.
So did you feel like it was some kind of dissociation, having like another shooting made at the same time?
I felt it more with my crew,
Right.
that they were not engaged emotionally with Ben. And I started, and other filmmakers were telling me at some point when we were in the middle of the process, they told me, "What? But man, I mean, are you sure what are you doing? He will steal your location, your actors. I mean, it's like being a parasite, you know." And and at some point, I start to be afraid, you know, because at the same time I was feeling the disaster in my project. I mean, we had a lot of problems to finance it. It was crazy, my project. But so at some point I remember and I was afraid that he wanted to. I mean, his film was about a filmmaker with problems. So it so I mean, at some point I remember to send you a message or telling you, I mean, why you don't take an American film, you know? I mean, or why you don't take a mainstream film, you know? I mean, your idea was to underline my disaster. I mean, the disaster of my career, you know? So at some point I was like, oh no, I mean, I will jump to the abyss. I mean, I really want to die. I really want to sacrifice my faith, making my film. I don't know if it will be good or not, but to show this in life is another thing.
Yeah, no, I think it was really a very brave thing to accept. But I think it was part of like what we talked about before was, you know, you do talk about your ego a lot and your kind of battles with your ego. And I think it was also something that you wanted or needed to do.
Totally.
You know, it was in a way also helpful.
It was a beautiful test. I'm not the owner of these landscapes. I'm not the owner of these people. We belong, I mean, and our mission is to just capture the beauty of things. No matter who, you know. And look how is life, and we were shooting, so we were shooting the mimosas, and so they were shooting with us. You were like 6 people. 3 people. 3 people, exactly. And we were like 50. So I was like in front of my contradictions as a filmmaker, you know, because I have someone that I have the same sensitivity than him that is shooting really light, ligeramente. So and my crew, they were starting to be disturbed by your micros. Sometimes it was late for us. You had the best donkeys. You were arriving first to the location.
I would get, you know, further up the gorge so that I could film them coming around the corner with all this heavy gear and laden down. And, you know, Santi, Oliver's co-writer, was saying, you know, you asshole, you know, you're always ahead of us, you know.
But look, I mean, we were giving to life, and life gave us back, because at some point we had problems with the cash flow in our project. We had problems with the banks, and we could stay shooting because of you, because you gave us money, I think, your production. And also at some points that we were like really, I mean, we were making a film that we didn't know to make it. I mean, it was bigger than us. We had no time to make rehearsals. It was great with the chaotic mimosas. Hopefully, it was chaotic. You know, art is mistake about accident. And at some point, you was our second unit. You know, you save us. And there are three or four shots in mimosas that belong to this guy. And you know, and so this is the thing, you know, when you give to life.
And some of them are also, I think two or three are also. So the same shots that are in Mimosas are also in The Sky Trembles, which I think is, you know, it's nice. You know, those sort of things you people who are watching attentively get to see those things. But there was some tensions at some point when. Because my film, the first half of it is behind the scenes of Mimosas, and then the second half, Oliver leaves his film set and it becomes Paul Bowles' fiction, which we filmed first, So, I had that part in the can. And then I was asking you, like, many times, when is Mimosas happening? Because if Mimosas didn't happen, then this film that I'd made would be completely, pointless. It wouldn't make any sense. And I think I was maybe, adding to your anxieties, because Mimosas kept getting put back, and there was financial difficulties, and but eventually it worked out, and the shooting happened. But the hardest bit was just that one moment where Oliver has to leave his film set, get in a car and drive away, so that I had this one intersection between reality and the fiction. And I think that was maybe...
We have to do it during my shooting. That was really, we have no time to make the film we wanted. We were all the time sacrificing sequences. We had like 5 weeks to make our film, but we had we had to go through different places. We had 4 weeks, in 20 days for shooting, at least. And you came in the middle of the shooting, for 3 weeks. And yes, and another thing, it's after the shooting I was totally deaf, and I couldn't watch the images. I was in Morocco. I was planned to do the editing in summer, and the idea that we had, that I think that it was a good idea, was to make a kind of exquisite corpse, cadavre exquisite. Exquisite course. It was like, okay, so let's make a film that we have like that you will use also my footage, and I will use yours in mind. We can make something really special. And at some point, I remember we finished in May, and in July I received an email from you saying, my film is choosing in Locarno. And again, that was a test for me, because first I thought that it was a pity that we didn't went through these intentions that we had. That probably was not a good idea, and secondly, that most important, I was afraid that you were showing too much of my film, of my locations, of everything, of the taxis. 1 year before, I even didn't know if I had a film or not. I didn't start to edit it, and for me, the opinion I had about my film is that it was a failure. So at this point, I was like again challenged, and I don't remember if I told you something or not about this fear I had.
We talked about it. We did talk about it, but then you, I don't even know how. Like, I just had a sort of, sometimes you just have a editing frenzy, and I think that just happened. That that's what happened. I just edited really quickly, and suddenly the film was there, and I was happy with it.
Both of you have a very different process. Like you shoot really fast, and
I shoot fast, and I can edit quite fast, depending. But yeah, the idea of waiting another year, I'm very impatient.
I think it was normal, because Locarno was really the place for your film.
Yeah.
Cannes was not the place for a fragile film like this one, so I at the end I understood,
Yeah, and you came to Locarno.
And it was great.
It was nice.
Oliver, do you see Sirāt as a continuation to the work you were doing in Mimosa?
Yes, I wanted to make Sirāt, but I finally did Mimosas.
So the idea of Sirāt was already there.
Things that I wanted to evoke in Mimosas, I couldn't. So Sirāt is like the accomplishment of this.
Accomplishment, yeah.
And also of this way of filmmaking that I was telling him when we were walking in my palm grove, to make a cinema that is high culture and popular culture at the same time. That is what we like of cinema, that I like. That yes, that has I really wanted to invite like larger audiences to my cinema, knowing that could be difficult to do it, So yes,
I always want to as well, but it just doesn't work out. No, I'm joking, but no, this was because when we were sort of still talking about Mimosas before you even shot it, you were saying I've got this idea for this rave film.
I told you, yes.
Yeah, and so it's incredible that this film has stayed with you and kept its power, because then I think you thought you might do it after Mimosas, but then of course Fire Will Come came.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite a long, slow period, but you seem quite good with taking your time.
Yeah, and I have the strength to protect the fragility of the first images that I have on my process creative. I mean, these first images that I was dancing in these rapes in these years that we met, I kept them alive through the script writing process and pre-production process that, filmmakers nowadays, you are not part of these filmmakers, but they put too much rhetoric in the images. I mean, they instrumentalize images to say something, so the images are death, So in 10 years, it's difficult to protect these images that they are connected with your inconscient and with the collective inconscience. I would like to ask you, Ben, what is first in your creative process? I mean, for me, you have something with image, and just few filmmakers has this. I mean, there are several types of filmmakers, like more narrative, more conceptual, more documentary. You are a filmmaker of images. How images appear on your creative process?
It's not always the same. I mean, some things just appear when I'm walking, or films start to kind of brew in my mind often when I'm reading as well, reading books that maybe don't have anything to do with the film that I'm making, and there could be just a word or a sentence that conjures an image that then I feel like I need to, articulate that image in a way. But they're also, it varies, because sometimes they're very, very clear, like the image at the end of The Sky Trembles of you running off into the desert. This was kind of like burnt into my mind before, long before making it.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, there's other times where I have no idea, and I'm on location and I'm just finding it on the day.
I think you have this capacity of, when you are shooting. I saw you shooting. I was impressed. The way you work, alone, with the camera. You work in a really fragile and intimate way, But you have something when you are shooting on the place. I've seen your film this morning, as I told you. It's a crime to watch one of your films on a computer. I'm sorry, I have no. Who will watch his film right after?
Good.
Okay, you have to. So I mean, it's special. I mean, the way you are shooting, the way you can dig images when you are in places, and locations, and I mean, it's really special.
Yeah, I mean, those cameras are, they feel like my body in a way, and I enjoy it. I enjoy finding the images. And I think enjoyment is a big part of my filmmaking.
There is we feel you taste images, when you make them. I don't know, Antoine, if I would like to give him my opinion about the film. I don't want to spoil it, but
just maybe don't spoil it for the people who are going to.
No, I mean, I
see
think
it now.
it's what is really curious of this film what is the name of the film?
Mare's Nest.
Mare's Nest. Sorry.
It's fresh.
Okay. So what is? I mean, it's so you. This film is so sweet as you know, and it's really it has a relation also with Mravet and his way of telling stories,
Storytelling.
counting stories, you know, and it's really related with all liberty. So I'm really touched, but about your coherence as a filmmaker and how your films talks about you. I was really touched watching your film this morning, you know, shooting these kids, this world, this I don't know. It's delicate. It's so sometimes you also tell me that you want to make. I mean, you have this project after London that you also wanted to make it on a more industrial way, or you know. Also, sometimes you say to me that you want to go outside your comfort zone. But I mean, watching I mean, it is my last. I didn't watch your last films, you know, but watching this and knowing you and knowing from where you come from since 20 years, the films we are doing. I mean, it's like I think it's beautiful, you know, that you are keep doing, you know. I mean, you have this same the way you make films is unique, you know, really, and really yours. And this coherence is beautiful. Yeah, and it's. I mean, it's. I mean, you have to see. It's really Pasolini. You know, this Armenian, Georgian. Le goût de la grenade.
Parajanov.
Parajanov. I mean, it's yours, but it's you. It's you. You know. So thank you.
Ben, I'm not going to make you comment about Sirāt. Maybe I can ask you, you just said to Ben that Mare's Nest is so you. Is Sirāt the same way about you?
I don't know. I think yes. I always think I'm a normal person. You know, and when I'm making a film, it's like, yeah, this is really classic movie, you know, it's like, but at the end, people are saying to me, I mean, it's strange, you know. I think Sirāt finally, you know, I understand it that is so possibly he talks about my strangeness and my, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does, because it's as you say, it's you know, you want to make something. I don't know. I don't like the word industrial. It sounds too bleak. But you know, something that's kind of big enough to maybe find more people. Really, I don't think that is ego. I think it's actually you know, some other desire to just reach more people. But you've done it in a way that is still really strange. I mean, I think it's quite a feat to make a film like this, which, you know, is already doing really well, you know, in Spain and hopefully here. And but it's, you know, so it's accessible, but it still leaves so much space for the audience, that's really rare in something that is also kind of grand and bombastic. And, you know, has a kind of clear narrative in a way, but it's still extremely ambiguous how you read it. I mean, I had an argument for about half an hour with someone. We had completely different ideas about it. You know, somebody who I respect, and her idea I thought was also quite good and valid, but I just didn't agree with it. But so yeah, I think, and the fact that it's these films sort of percolate for so long inside your brain. I mean, how could they not be a mirror of you?
I'd like to hear you both about something which you already touched upon, is the place of children or kind of innocence that is portrayed in the film, and both Mare's Nest and Sirāt have children in the center, like Mare's Nest as a protagonist and Sirāt not as the main character, but like as a very pivotal character in the story. And I was wondering, Mimosa as well was had like a kind of seeker or a guide as a protagonist. So I was wondering if you both see like the innocent or the fool as a kind of conduit to the sacred realm, or to the sacred, to the idea of like a spiritual dimension, which could also be like an idea of cinema, like that kind of innocence that we all wish to come back to watching the world.
I think, I don't know, Ben, from a psychological point of view, I think it's like it's a zone of comfort, childhood, you know. We are fragile and we feel safe. You know, when I watch to you, you know, I mean, your sensitivity, you know, it's like, no, don't you think purposely, because you are really, really delicate and fragile, you as a human being, you know, and in this world that and you're living Britain in London, you know, I mean, so I mean, I ask you the same question, then do you think it's because you feel safe in a way, or children are a mirror for you?
Yeah, maybe some kind of mirror of, or something you want to cling on to. But yeah, I mean, I definitely get the fragility, but not necessarily the safety. I think
the celebration.
Yeah, celebration, but with an underlying sense of unease about what's happening around or underneath. So I mean, what's at the core of the film, in a way, is like this disturbance of the contemporary world, and sort of working with children to, I guess, imagine a world that's sort of beyond that. That's a sort of transformation. Yeah. Maybe it's into a safer zone, or it's into a zone where nobody has the answers. Nobody feels like they have the answers, because obviously, like in the world today, like most people feel like they have the answers, and that's why there's, in a way, there's conflict. Because people feel that they're right. When I saw Sirāt, I kind of felt like the world that you're in that film is, it is a kind of ending of things, and it's a world of like very deep disturbance, and but at the end there's this kind of sense of a kind of transformation beginning to happen, and then Mare's Nest could almost be like coming afterwards, temporally. It's
Mine
like a
is
late
pre-apocalyptic.
Yours is pre or during the apocalypse. Mine is kind of post. But not the post-apocalypse of Mad Max. It's kind of after that. All the people in Mad Max have killed each other, and and it doesn't really matter what's happened. It's sort of like working with children to propose very tentatively a kind of, I don't know, something new, but something like post-capitalist.
Spontaneity in the times of control and calculation.
Yes, which is a kind. It's I'm a lot of my films. They're about kind of gentle forms of anarchy. There's the film from last year, Bog and Clock, with Jake. I mean, they're not. They're kind of they could be part of the same world in a way. Whereas with Sirāt, your characters, they're kind of, they're more in the kind of aggressive period of anarchy. or not aggressive, but you know, they're fighting.
That's why some of them, they are a little bit, they belong to this archetype of Peter Pan, you know, and ravers sometimes they are a little bit Peter Pan, you know, they don't want to grow.
Yeah.
And Biggie and some of they are like this, you know, but at the same time they have quite maturity, I think, you know, but.
Yeah, because I thought, you know, when the guy turns off the radio, he just doesn't want to hear. He doesn't want to hear.
How did you interpret this sequence?
I kind of felt like.
So the sequence is that there is a radio, and we are listening in the radio that there is a kind of global conflict, and they want to interview like the representative of the NATO. And at the moment that this guy will start to speak, they switch off the volume. Radio.
I think it's something we you know, in a way, it's something we can all probably sympathise with. You know, at a certain point, you just feel like you've heard enough noise. You know, nothing's happening. So, you know, and I don't think it's about just putting your head in the sand and pretending that nothing's happening. That they want to kind of, I mean, I see it as allegorical, not concrete, you know, but they want to move off into another realm. You know, and it's a bit like me and the kids, you know, you don't necessarily know what the answers are. You don't know if that they're reaching some, or they are going to reach the answers, but they're at least going to try and move beyond somehow. It's about transformation. I mean, all these films, Mimosas, Sirāt, Mare's Nest, The Sky Trembles, they're all journeys. They're all kind of road movies that are about
slow action. Slow action. I don't know who watched this film, Slow Action. I mean, it's one of the films of the century. Slow action. It's a masterpiece. It's amazing, and it dialogues a lot with Nest.
I mean, this is why I sometimes want to make more industrial films, because like at least then people might have seen them.
But they will survive. They will survive apocalypse. Your films, don't worry. I would like to say, Antoine, if you allow me, that Andrea Queralt is our producer. She's here. He produced
both films,
both of us. So please. And also my producer Oriol Maimó and Xavi Font are there. So thank you.
Maybe it would be a good time to open questions to the audience.
To us or to our producers.
So wait for the microphone and it will come to you.
Thank you. I saw in the credits for Sirāt that it was produced by Pedro Almodóvar. Can you talk about his input on the film or his reaction to the finished film?
Yes, I mean, we met and he liked my previous film, Fire Will Come, and so I knew, I mean, I felt he was respecting me, and so when I was ready to show the script, I showed it to him first. I was also producer of this film with Xavi, so we already had some financement, and so they came, and it was great. And he's happy with the film. I mean, I mean, we have really different universe, you know, but he's proud, and I'm really grateful to him.
Yeah. It's also a big success in Spain, so he must be happy. No?
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, he was making, in a way, it's difficult to know if I agree or not, but he was making a kind of contracultural films in Spain, and I think Sirāt, in a way, is doing the same. I don't know. I'm not sure. So, yeah.
Anyone else? If not, I wanted to maybe continue about this idea, because those are both are your films. You've worked on them a long time, or a very long time, because due to the fragmentary nature of your film, Ben, and due to the size of the project, Oliver. And I was wondering how the current events in the world would affect that long trajectory. If you felt the need to incorporate or to stay a little bit at a distance, or if you felt shaken a little bit by what's happening and like trying to, I don't know, create some echoes in your film or stay away from
it. I mean, for me, it was on my mind for. So I started filming at the end of September 22 was when we first started filming part of my film, and it was filmed over 2 years. So me and all the kids involved were talking about what was happening in Gaza. You can't, it's impossible to make a film with kids in this time and not be thinking and talking about all these kids dying, people in general, lots of adults as well, but the kids, that it's just so devastating. And so I don't know, somehow but it's not like I wanted to. I don't know. I don't think it was my job with that film to be, directly talking about it. But I think it's impossible to not watch it and see, some relation.
echoes or relations.
Yeah, in our case, yesterday we were talking during the Q&A. Sergi Lopez, the actor, was talking about how the body has a memory of something. He's not working with the brain; he's working something. The body gives him answers to play. And so we were talking about this, about how you connect with a pain. That it's yours, but it's also the pain from your lineage, from your ancestors, and I think that during making Sirāt, nowadays all filmmakers and artists, we are connected to this pain that is on the world in a way, and it's in us. Our bodies has this memory or this connection with this pain that is so heavy nowadays, and I think, yes, Sirāt and your films, they hold this pain, and it's in a subtle way you feel it,
Could you talk a little bit about casting non-professional, because both of your films are, at the exception of Sergi Lopez, completely with a cast of non-professional actors?
I think that both of us, correct me if I'm wrong, we like reality. We love reality. We like textures of reality. We like people. We love textures on a wall. I mean, in your film, you see the material, the colors, everything. So I think this is the reason we love people. We are touched by. I mean, your film is a scandal of beauty. The way you shoot these children and their face, their skin, their hair. It's. I only seen this in Pasolini before you. This celebration of humankind. Humankind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm not just saying this because we're sitting here and I'm going to be a mutual admiration society, but I think. It's there in your films as well. I mean, I saw it way back with Shakib. Shakib is a real guy from the Tangier streets, and he's just such an amazing person, amazing energy, and and you film him with such love. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and I feel like that might be harder with an actor who's doing their professional job. These are real people, and they're people that we've got to know, and you love them. I mean, for Moon in my film, she's someone I've known since she was very young. She's daughter of friends of mine. And, it's when I was starting to think about the film and writing it and writing notes and things, as soon as I thought, oh, Moon could be this person navigating us through this world, that's when the film really started to coalesce, It started to really come together because I could picture it because I had this person. And I think it's probably the same with you, when you can put a body and a face into a character that you've got in your head, then, things start to really work.
I have doubts in my case. Who watched Sirāt here? Okay. I have doubts in my case because I think that Sergi is capable to evoke a pain that we are touched by, but in terms of fragility, an actor cannot express the same vulnerability than a non-professional actor. And I think that that's, for example, the actor of my previous film, Amador, he was a non-professional actor. We had limits in terms of play, with him, but his fragility. To put a camera in front of someone who is not used to be in front of a camera, the fragility that has, this is precious. And I think that even if the job of Sergi is amazing, and you are touched, but again, I say, but his pain, in terms of fragility, he is not fragile in front of the camera. There is a limit, and we like people fragile. We are fragile. There is an energy that no.
I remember when you were rehearsing for Mimosas, and there was a professional actor, and then you put him in a room with these non-professional actors, and he cried, didn't he? Because he was so upset that they were so amazing.
Mm.
It
was tough for him.
Yeah.
I know that at some point every non-professional actor becomes naturally a professional actor, but Ben, do you have any desire to work with professional actors, like unionized actors?
After working with me,
I've done it already.
You crossed the line.
I'm like Almodovar. We say I'm a Ben Rivers.
Much taller double, because he's always playing a filmmaker. Because actually, when we were shooting Krabi in Thailand, Oliver just texted to say, I hear you're in Thailand making a film. Why don't we meet up? And I said, I've got something better. You can be in the film. He's just there on holiday having a break. So he ended up in the film. But actually, Krabi does have two professional actors. And again, she found it very difficult, the main one. She's like very, very experienced Thai actor. And she really struggled with being put opposite non-professionals because they don't care in a way. That's part of the thing. There's less at stake for them in a certain sense because it's not their job. So they can kind of be much more natural. If you tell them, okay, go over there and pick up a bottle of water, they just do it without really thinking about it. Whereas the actor wants to know kind of why they're doing it. But I still want to do things outside of my comfort zone. So we'll see if it happens.
We have time for yes. Dennis has a question. Okay.
Is the microphone? Yeah. I did Oliver's Q&A last night, but I didn't get the chance to ask this question, and I wanted to get on the record. And I also wanted Ben's thoughts on this. So somebody messaged me this morning to say that Sirāt affected them in such a way that they had to talk to their therapist about it. And you told me at dinner that this was actually like a phenomenon, something that was happening. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, and you also told me that you've been studying psychoanalysis, and there's a Gestalt therapy. So yeah, I was wondering if you could say more about that. And Ben, I don't know, thoughts on therapy?
Yes, I mean, since mimosas, since I'm like more into a kind of spiritual practice with my master, with I'm the concept of servanthood is more important in my cinema, to serve, to give good bread to spectators, to do a bread with love, with good seeds, with good material, and without sugar, without so at some point I was struggling. I mean, my artistic practice is influenced by my spiritual practice, even if but at some point I feel a collision, It's like I'm on the dimension of the artist that is in a way a kind of immaturity, So I always felt this as a fight, even if there are dialogues between, it's like being an artist doesn't allow me to have my practice that I need discipline, habits, focus, my ego is too stimulated, and sometimes I'm really dissociated, but now I was studying psychology, and so I feel with mimosas because I now I know a lot of psychotherapists and psychoanalysts and also anonymous people told me, in Q&As, I feeling that both paths I'm coming and being together more and more, and accepting more my role as an artist, and I'm really stimulated by this field of exploration, of research that can be to explore images and his therapeutical dimension, We are having a lot of information about what is a spectator, the way his relation with images, and I think the next film we will try to go further. We are happy with what is happening, and for me I had a lot of doubts sometimes. I'm really doing a healthy film for who I'm working. I think I'm like surveying my intention, but I had a lot of doubts in the process of making this film. So, I mean, people will leave theater during the shoot, because when we were financing the film, and my producer are here, we had really heavy and negative feedbacks. I was thinking that my intention was to take care of a spectator, to invite him to look inside, but people were saying to us, we don't want to make suffering the spectator, So, and this is Ben, you know what I'm talking about. The most important thing, the most difficult thing for an author, for an artist, is to keep your gesture. You always think that the problems are external. We don't have the money. Probably the casting is not the good one. I don't have a good relation with the actor. The actor is not giving me what I want. I mean, we are all the time outside, but the most important thing is inside. I'm going to jump to the abyss with this gesture, or and so then he said, I don't know what if I'm answering you, but I now I'm quiet. I'm relief because I have the certificate that the film is healthy, that the film touch you, obliged you to look inside. That is something heavy. That is something that we never do. That's why it's heavy, but it's removing it on a good way, So I knew on a sacred way. I knew it, but I needed to have the confirmation from the audience. So. Sorry?
I don't know. Well, you know, we talked last time we saw each other, which was about a few weeks ago, when we went for a walk in Toronto, and we were talking about this, and I said I've never been to a therapist because I have this very it is probably absurd romantic idea that if I go and talk to a therapist, it's somehow going to ruin my my kind of artistic practice. Well, me and David, I'm happy to be in his room. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a fear that's maybe irrational, but luckily, like I'm not. You know, there's not so much sort of internal struggles and pain that I feel like I need to anyway. So. But in terms of, I mean, cinema cinema can definitely be cathartic and therapeutic and massaging, but I would never set out to make a film with that in mind. I mean, if it happens by accident, which I mean, people have told me sometimes, but I think I don't believe it's a good idea to sort of set out to make something with the purpose of being therapeutic.
And I think that you do it on a indirect way. I mean, when we watch your films, we film a kind of serenity, no? I mean, Pasolini was saying that what the spectator really wants, what he enjoys in a sacred way, is the freedom of the filmmaker. And so in your films, this anarchy, that this celebration of life that your films have, in a sacred and a subtle way, you are giving us light. You are giving us faith. You are giving us balance. You know, your films. I mean, this film is a celebration of life, so it's therapeutical.
Okay, we'll have to end on that note. Thank you so much, Ben and Oliver. Thank you for being here.